What ho, travellers and adventurers, and welcome to my tavern. I am the Bardic Knock. Now, take a seat, have a drink, and relax, and listen to my tales. Okay, so today I want to talk about non-player characters, or NPCs for short. Well, first of all, let's define what an NPC is. Simply, they are everyone that's not a player. Every single thing that is in your world that exists and breathes and is alive is an NPC. So yes, obviously NPCs are super important because without them you don't have enemies, you don't have quest givers, you don't have bucks and barmaids to flirt with, you don't have anything. Okay, so obviously we know they're important. I suppose the next question to ask is, what do we do when we want to make an NPC? How do we go, okay, here is a person I want to exist, how do I make them? Well, first off, any NPC can be easily put into one of three categories. Those are enemy, friend, other. It's pretty easy. Enemies. We all know that any story, any ongoing series of adventure, like whatever it is, you need an enemy or an antagonist for your player to overcome, because otherwise, what are they doing? Without a foe, whether that be, a literal here is the person, or a foe being here is the difficult concept, the whatever, you need an antagonist. That's just storytelling 101. Now, thankfully, enemy NPCs can range to everything, from nameless, faceless hordes of orcs and zombies and whatever else. They're NPCs. They're a thing. They're your enemies. Right the way to your evil, dastardly, villainous manipulator who sits high in his evil wizard's tower, twiddling his moustache, going, I am going to foil your plans again, adventurers, yeah. NPC, right there, got him. An enemy NPC, or antagonist, can go right the way down just to that merchant who refuses to sell stuff to the dwarf character because he just doesn't like dwarves. That's an antagonist. That is an NPC for your players to react to do something with, and that's great. That is a point of an enemy, to be the obstacle. That is the point of these types of NPCs. Obviously, in polar opposition, you have your friends, your allies, your comrades, your people who like you. These are fantastic. These are some of the best things you can have in a role-playing game. And just like villains and enemies, they have a humongous range, right the way from the rightful heir to the throne who needs your help to overthrow the evil dictator to reclaim his kingship, to the gruff mercenary who's really only in it for the money. But go on then, I'll help. Right the way down to just that nice bartender who, recognise that your players are good people and gave them a free drink and a pleasant smile. He's a friend. And the reason friends are so great as non-player characters is because they act as motivation. They are the motivation givers. They are the literal quest giver. That's a bartender who goes, "Ooh, boy howdy, I sure need me some more apples. I wish someone would go and get me some." Or they're the plot hook. Once again, that same bartender can plot hook and go, "Oh, my apples just haven't been arriving for the last week. I wonder what could be stopping them." Right there, because he's engaging in friendly conversation, he can give the players the reason to continue on. The other thing they can do, and I love doing this personally, they are the emotional reason to do things. You can use them. You can use your non-player character to add a beautiful, juicy layer of emotion to your story. Because, okay, relatively dry story. Go and defeat the wizard in the tower. He's evil. Right, sure, yeah. Your players are probably going to want to do that because he's evil. Go and defeat him. Now, if you made them come across, a kindly old woman who was just polite, and she offered them a piece of bread and pointed them out around the town and go, "Oh yes, dear, if you head down that street and then take the second left, you'll find the tavern. It's very lovely in there. Oh, and here, take some bread. You look new to town. Are you okay? Do you want?" You can have her go on and tell them about her son who was kidnapped by the wizard or even killed, and she's so devastated by it. Right there, you've made your players have another reason to go and defeat the evil wizard. Now it's not just because he's evil, it's because he has hurt someone who was nice to them. You can slather this emotional manipulation over everything with friendly NPCs, and it's a perfect way to get your players to care about what you're doing. And then finally, the nondescript category, the other. I struggle to really call these non-player characters because whenever I use one, it's mainly because they don't have a character. Yeah, a little bit ashamed of it. I've done it. The blacksmith is just the blacksmith. He's there, he makes stuff, and that's it. He's not a character, he's nondescript. Personally, I really don't like using these. I have, and I probably will continue to, because sometimes I've got to make stuff up. Like, that moment, right there in the game, got to make something up. And just for speed, just for quickness, go, okay, yeah, he's a blacksmith, he'll sell you a sword for 5 gold. Yeah, it's quick, it's great for bookkeeping, and you shouldn't feel bad about using these types of characters because that's fine. We all have to make stuff up. We all have to come up with things quickly, or we just know that there's nothing really important I want to explore here as the dungeon master, or I don't think my players want to explore anything in this town, so everything will be nondescript, and that's fine. Not everyone in the world has to be a plot hook or a quest giver or a brand new friend to help solve their problem. Like, you do need the generic ones here and there, but if you can, try and only sprinkle these out sparingly, because every time you make generic blacksmith, you are denying your players a chance to roleplay, to be a part of the world, and to be completely immersed, immersed in what you're doing. Now, speaking of immersion, obviously, when you've got your non-player characters, these things that are acting in different ways to help push your adventure along and guide your players through whatever means necessary, you want them to be memorable, you want them to be known, you want them to feel real to your players, because that matters and that creates
immersion, and that makes your players go, wow, I can't wait to get back in as my character and do stuff. Obviously, making memorable non-player characters is really quite difficult, and there's not many things worse than having spent weeks and weeks and months planning your amazing adventure, in which your players finally get to the top of a wizard's tower, and you reveal that the wizard is actually the beggar Jim. And then your players all look at each other and go, "Who's Jim? I don't remember a beggar. Was that from? Oh, no, that wasn't a beggar." And you're sat there going, "Oh, yeah, you met him 10 sessions and half a wizard's tower ago. He's the guy who bumped into you and oh yeah." And then it feels like your great plan was kind of wasted. It's built up and then there's no climax, and that's just, well, frustrating. So, just how the characters themselves can be easily categorized into three areas. The ways you can help make them memorable. You can do that in three easy ways. I'm liking the number three today. It's got a good 3 day. Alright, these are something physical about them, a special voice, and a unique and interesting personality. The physical aspect is definitely the easiest because you just have to pick a thing. Whether that be they've only got 4 fingers, they're wearing an eye patch, they walk with a limp, they have bright pink hair, they have a conjoined twin, and they speak and argue with each other. it can be anything, you know. Ideally, you want it to be big enough that it's noticeable, and oh yes, yes, the guy with the limp, he drags his right foot behind him, so when your player sees someone dashing off behind the alley and they catch a glimpse of a right foot dragging behind, they go, oh, it's him, he was the murderer, quick, get him. It's great. Unfortunately, don't become super reliant on this, because otherwise every single character has some unique thing. All of a sudden you've got to write down, oh god, did I give the half elf smuggler the scar on his left eye or right eye, because I gave the human barmaid a scar on her ear, and all of a sudden everyone is special and different and unique, and therefore nobody is. So it's great if you're going to do it. One, write down what you're doing so you don't forget, and two, try and sprinkle it out delicately so then it makes even more of an impact. And the second one being voice. Creating a voice for a character is really hard. It just is, and you're going to feel uncomfortable, you're going to feel weird, and you're probably not going to want to do it. At least some of you are, anyhow. My advice is just try. I know you might feel silly. I know you think your friends might make fun of you, or they'll call you stupid, or they'll say, oh, that's really bad. If they know that you're trying, they are more likely to give you a break and acknowledge, okay, well, you're trying, and I get what you're trying to do, and that's fine, that's great. And if they don't acknowledge that, if the only thing they can do is criticize you because that's not a good voice, or oh, your voice has changed from before, then, in my opinion, they're really not great friends and players, because a dungeon master really does need to be acknowledged for the amount of effort he's putting in. Because do you realize how hard it is to sit there and try and make everything matter, whilst at any moment your players can just go, well, I don't care about all these things. So don't be afraid of trying to do things with voices. Obviously, you don't need to be a voice actor. You don't need to be able to change your voice on a whim to sound like this person and that person. You don't need to do impressions. I mean, obviously, if you can, yeah, do them. You know, it doesn't matter if your players don't get it. If you have inspiration, you know, if you want to make your evil wizard sound like Christopher Lee in Lord of the Rings, and you can imitate that, then sure, crack on. Or if you want to make it a joke and make the evil demon sound like Christopher Walken, if you can imitate that, and just do it. You know, it's fun. Your players will enjoy it, and they'll certainly remember that character. They will remember that demon who speaks like Christopher Walken. If you still don't feel overly comfortable trying to change your voice or putting on an accent or anything like that, you don't have to. What you can do is change your delivery. And you do this by altering the tone in which you speak, the speed at which you speak, the pitch, the pitch. You just change your voice around. You're going to get it wrong, you're going to mess it up, or your voice is going to crack, and all of a sudden your great, big, burly, masculine fighter, his voice will crack and he'll sound like a girl for a line, and that's fine. You know, we aren't professionals here. We aren't selling things to people. This isn't a movie. This isn't television. We can make mistakes, and that's totally fine. And you know, it's great because you can do it. You know, okay, look at me. I'm a 6'2" British male with a great big bushy beard, but if I just change my tone and go up a little bit in my register, and all of a sudden I'm very calm and careful in how I speak, but put a slight hint of fear in the voice, and all of a sudden I can become a caring motherly figure who just wants the players to stay safe. And then at the same time, you know, if I really ramp up my speed and excitement levels and take my voice as high as it'll go, all of a sudden I'm the excited little child who's so amazed to see these amazing adventures coming in, and they're gonna save us all from the evil dragon. You're really gonna do it, mister? Yeah! It's silly. I feel really stupid right now, but it works, and that's all you need. And then finally, the third one, personality. This is big grey area because obviously voice is a huge part of personality and conveying that, and all kinds of things go into personality. You know, a character's motivation, their backstory, how the world treats them, how they go about their lives, what they want to achieve in life. There's all kinds of things, and that it's hard. Once again, if you have a personality trait you want to get across, if you want to get across that this person is really serious, then pick a really serious character. You know, pick Batman. Don't try and do the voice because that might make your players laugh, but pick I am serious character. And no, we're not going to mess around. We're going to go in there and we're going to defeat the wizard because this is serious. And right there, boom, you've got personality, and they'll remember that. Obviously, you're going to have to try, mess around, do this, do that, and you're going to get it wrong. You just are. I keep getting it wrong. But, you know what? For every wrong bit you do, you learn for the next time. And that's all that really matters. The moment you stop trying, that's when you should just give up. Because if you aren't going to try and push yourself and try and do at least one thing, you don't need to be pushing yourself in every which way every time, because you will burn out and you will lose all your energy and just not be able to keep going. Just push one thing. Push, I want to make this character more likable. Do that. It's fantastic, and it makes players really appreciate what you're doing. in theory. um, yeah, I think. No, yes, one final thing, really quick. When you are making a non-player character and you're getting them through things and you want to make them a part of this living, breathing world of yours, remember to take account of the fact that they're alive. They evolve and they grow just as the player characters should. Because this really makes your players feel like they are having an impact on the world. It doesn't need to be a big one. It doesn't need to change the world. But if you can make your players feel like they changed something, that merchant who doesn't like dwarves, if you can make your players feel that no, they convinced him just a bit that yeah, he'll do it. Boom. Right there, your players now realise that everything they do matters. From defeating the wizard and slaying the dragon to just that nice conversation with the little old lady. It all matters and it shapes the world around them because they are big influences on the world. That is now definitely everything I have to talk about non-player characters today. If you want to tell me about non-player characters you've made or things that your dungeon master has made, just things you loved about them. Was it how they did the lines? Was it the personality? Was it just because they're all really crazy and weird? Boom, throw it in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Other than that, yeah, like the video, share it, subscribe, and you'll see more videos of me talking about things. And yeah, thank you.
I am the Bardic Knock, wishing you good health and happy adventuring.